And week 8. Reading week is over. It's probably too quick for most of you. We are rolling into the second half of the semester, and the first half was 7 weeks, and the second half was only 6 weeks. That's right, 13-week semester, not counting the reading week. So we are, I guess, on the downswing, but still lots of important content to cover, lots of good information to talk about, which is good. Did anyone do anything during the reading week? Anything exciting? Hoping there's someone did something that they enjoyed doing over the reading week. Did you maybe go out skiing or anyone get outside? There was a few nice warm days in there. I see, what did I do? I know what I did. I'll put it in the chat. This was not fun, but you know what? I got to open the garage up and clean up the garage a bit. Put something in the chat. Tell me what you did during the reading week. Run, good stuff. Actually, you're right, Brad. The streets were just getting the ice and the snow off the streets and a lot of the smaller streets, so that's good. Walks, that's awesome. I do, like I think I mentioned before, I do some mountain biking. Doggo, sure. There's a few days in there. Actually, I have studded tires, so I ended up thought I was really ambitious. Took the studded tires off, but then realized that I should have left the studded tires on. So studded tires were off for about a day or two, and they went back on. At least for this week. I know we're getting some really warm weather this upcoming weekend, but tonight I'm riding a trail in Aurelia, is the Slessor and Silver Creeks. If anyone knows about those. Went to a park in Toronto. Good, that's good. Eric, any snow in Toronto, or is it pretty well all gone? Tell me about that. See if there's any snow. I haven't been down to Toronto in quite a while. What is it, Eric? Is it snow in Toronto or no? No snow. Okay. Well, it's almost all gone up here in Barrie area. Still have quite a, I guess, a bit on the grass and stuff like that outside, but feels cold this morning. I don't know what's going on, but cold, it's dreary and cloudy. Not a great looking day. So okay, we did some activity. People got out. Um, but what else is going on? I did just sunny. There was some good weather. I also tapped my maple trees last week. So started collecting sap this week, or this past weekend. Haven't got any this week at all. Last weekend. So me and my friend Carl, we are collecting the sap and boiling that. Probably do a fair bit this weekend. Hopefully things warm up nicely and collect some more and boil that down into syrup, which will be nice. Always a fun time. And we also have a day tomorrow. Is anyone celebrating St. Patrick's Day tomorrow? Any plans on celebrating St. Pat? Okay, yeah. Some people look like Sirkin. Yes. You have a few friends that maybe are Brad. Yeah. Okay. Okay, that's good. Few of you, and I think it's, I don't know, it might be one of the days of the year that it's near the end of the school year, but it's one of those days we usually like to celebrate, have some drinks with friends. Now, let's see. I have some, let's see, I have some Irish or St. Patrick's Day trivia. Uh, Maybe you guys may know this. So there's a U.S. city that dyes its river green annually to celebrate St. Patrick's Day. Does anyone know what city dyes its river green? Oh, Ashley, you're right on top of that. Chicago. Must have been brushing up on your St. Patrick's Day trivia, or just maybe you've seen it or been there. That was a quick one, though. Definitely answered that fast. And how about this? Saw it on Twitter that. Okay, how about this? Does anyone? How many pints of Guinness are consumed worldwide on St. Patrick's Day? I'll give you multiple choice on this one. It's either 1 million, 6 million, 13 million, and 20 million. And Brad says not enough. Okay. Well, maybe I'll have a few in my fridge. Maybe I'll have one tomorrow. I wonder if it'll be tomorrow on St. Patrick's Day. Probably not enough. And let's see if I have one more question here. Okay, here's one. What is the national flower of Ireland? I don't know what the national flower of Ireland is. Are we gonna hear? Well, could be, maybe. Any other guesses? I haven't seen a lot of flowers in Ireland before. So, any other guess? I'll tell you what it is. No one can guess it. It's the shamrock, which is a small clover. So that four-leaf clover is their actual national flower of Ireland. All right. Enough with the Irish trivia. Okay. Now, what is going on today in class? You may be asking. Well, we are going to be talking about the social media advertising module. We will be talking about that for a bit. We do have a presentation. Aaron Andrew Harmeet. And what else do we have going on? And also did post up the only real assignment that you have this semester. I did have that posted. We'll talk about that a little bit. And what else? Any questions at this point? If not, I will find my notes and the social media advertising. Has anyone had any issues? I know I've had a few questions through my email, but any issues or any questions about the modules that have been completed up to this point? I notice most of you on the call here are pretty up to date on completing the modules, so maybe I'm asking the wrong people. Some people are a little bit slower getting them complete. And then most of you are doing fairly well on them. If anyone does have issues on the challenge phase and you just feel that you just weren't on your game that day and you wanted to redo it and you used up all your tries, then let me know. I can reset it if that is something that you'd like to do, is to try to get a better mark on that challenge phase. Okay, so we will, if I can share. Okay. Let's see what we got here. Organize my stuff. Okay, so know that last lesson, which was 2 weeks ago, I know it's so long ago, we learned about advertising campaigns, market research, advertising budget. Remember, there was the buildings, and each building or each company had their own different budgets to market and advertise, and you had to find that right balance between private box, stadium naming rights, on-field signage, ticket signage. There's a few other ones in there to get the right, I guess, formula to get the most out of your advertisers. So, and you saw that if you offered them made too many offers to them, they got fed up and they just said, forget it, we're not dealing with you. So you only have a few chances to get the right amounts there. So in this lesson, we're going to take a look at information that applies to social media advertising. Now, I'm guessing that most of you are very familiar with social media advertising. And I do know that this module, when it comes to social media advertising, things just happen so quickly and develop and I guess change and advance so quickly that some of the stuff I found a little bit dated, but it was okay. We can find other examples too of social media advertising. So social media is defined as a form of electronic communication through which users connect, share information, and allow individuals to interact with each other. Some examples include Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, YouTube. Can anyone give me any other examples of social media that they have found advertising appear on? Reddit. Yeah, Reddit. Okay. The others that people have seen advertising pop up on doesn't really even need to be, well, how about just when you look at social media, there's also just media where it shows up. So we know that any of your, I guess, web streaming of sports. So if you're watching your Sportsnet or TSN, you're going to find advertising. TikTok, definitely lots of advertising now. It's like often, it's definitely infiltrating. You all might not remember as much as I do, but watching your cable Twitch, watching cable TV was like, oh yeah, every 15, 20 minutes there is commercials. Now it's those were you're watching the 30-minute hour TV shows, cable shows, and then they were shoving the commercials in every 15, 20 minutes or whatever it was, 10 minutes. Be really annoying commercial breaks. And now because of the type of social media that we are look at, if it's Facebook or TikTok, whatever, you're just scrolling through things so quickly, the advertising shows up even more frequently. So it could be every minute or every few minutes you're seeing something. On YouTube, when you're watching videos on YouTube and they have breaks in the videos to stop and show you advertising, which is really a pain. It's just a different way of companies, of businesses finding ways to soak into your brain. All right. Okay, let's see what else is here. It's becoming more and more prevalent that companies include professional teams in concert promotions. Yeah, concerts. When was the last time anyone has seen a concert that it wasn't online, right? There's a good one on New Year's Eve that anyone saw, maybe more of my generation, did Dwayne Gretzky put a great concert on New Year's Eve. It was like 4 hours long, uh, and lots of covers. But it's amazing that that band could play. You know, there was a lot of people in that band. But anyways, that's the last concert that I saw on New Year's online. If any of you have any friends that do, a long time ago, hey, Sir Ken, long time ago. And I don't even know if there's any concerts planned for this summer. I'm not sure if be far too long. Yes. Um, Ashland, really. I don't even know if there are concerts or music festivals planned for this summer. Does anyone know that? Just trying to think if that's even happening yet. Yeah, Boots. I thought Boots, but usually I did see it advertised last. I did drive to Aurelia, you know, the that Burles Creek. They did have some signs. Maybe it was in the summer. I saw it summer when they were advertising the following summer. We will see. Let's hope that get out there and get some concerts, right? And doesn't don't we all miss live music, even at a pub or a bar, in a band playing. Anyways, back on track here. Concert promoters using these channels to communicate the advertising through and promote their events and allowing the message to span across millions of users through tweets, retweets, favorites, sharing of links and comments. So we're going to talk all about all those areas. The viral versus paid. Okay, there's this module breaks it down into or talks about two different ways of marketing and advertising. So paid, they say is self-explanatory. Team is paying for the advertisement on some form of medium, whether traditional social will provide its advertisements the information it wants the public to know. So viral or organic advertising is the modern day word of mouth. So the team can post a photo or a tweet on Instagram. You know that all your favorite sports teams, all your favorite bands, they're on social media and they have their account on TikTok or they have their account on Instagram. And if you look, they're not paying for that, I don't believe. So anyone can have that. So if you retweet it, repost it, like it, that's the viral or organic advertisement. It's like, did you see this or so and so that, and then you pass it on and pass it on, and my it does work pretty well that way. It gets around quickly, multiplies just by sharing it, liking it, reposting it. So all this is while it is similar to paid advertisement, it didn't cost them any money to post that content or write brief description. And the example they have here is a 2014 example, which is 7 years ago. Beyonce unveiled their album cover. I'm not sure how many other bands do this. I'm sure lots do. It's the example they had, and Instagram and Twitter within 12 hours. Post on Twitter accumulated 1.2 million tweets, and within 24 hours, 430 albums were sold. So you know that the whole music business is, well, we won't get into that, but albums are it's a thing of the past, right? Who buys albums anymore? You just download their music, and you go to where they make their money is on the concerts and their merchandise. Hopefully, some people still buy their music, but I'm not sure how many buy their music now. Well, the advertisement itself was professionally created. So Beyonce paid for someone to create that. The promotion of the advertisement was all manufactured organically through social media. Great. Okay. Back up to the top. And so Creating a successful social media advertising campaign. Like traditional media advertising, a plan must be in place to generate as much attraction and fan reach. So fan reach is one of the words as possible. Some of the key points in the United States. Okay, so there's an example here of United States, U.S. women's national team implemented during a soccer team during its 2015 campaign focused behind the scenes content, influencers and fans, and its message tell the narrative of each player and constant communication with the fans. So they did a big campaign there with that team, and they found that it was very successful. Fan reach and using influencers. Okay, each aspect played a huge role in its successful advertising campaign. The main goal was to get each fan to resonate with the individual player, so connect with the player and follow them that way. It's like, oh yeah, I really like so and so on the team, so they would follow it. As a result of this campaign, the U.S. women's national team became the #1 most watched team among all female sports in the final between the U.S. and Japan. Also, soccer. Does anyone remember watching that? I think that was because it was in the U.S. and Canada. I think the games were in the U.S. and Canada, if I remember. How to measure success in social media advertising campaigns. So according to this certain marketing solutions company, SVME, there are 3 factors that a team or concert venue should measure to gauge success. So there is reach, engagement, which we just talked about those two, or reach and conversion. So we're going to talk about those 3 right now. Reach, engagement, conversion. Remember those. Reach is the number of people that have been impacted by social media content. Okay. Oops. Reach. Reach will give the team or venue an understanding of how attractive the message was to the target audience. For that target audience, reach can be tracked by how many followers the post generated on Twitter, Facebook, etc. Connections on LinkedIn or views on YouTube channel. Most social media websites have analytics, but the team or venue can track. And we even know that we're able to get hold of the analytics on, I know on Facebook and Instagram, we have reports done. If we have our social media accounts, we can get the analytics to find out what were the most popular advertisements, the most popular posts, and see that's sort of where the ones we lean towards to try in the future. And so the ones that aren't working, we sort of I guess change our strategy and go with things that we do see that are working. Okay, the other one is engagement. After reach, the next metric to look at is whether anyone did something. So it's what they did with the post. So the reach is how many people just viewed it. Engagement is whether anyone did something with it. So things like retweet, direct clicks, so direct messages on Twitter, clicks on links, the post shares, so shares on Facebook and comments. Okay, so those are all forms of engagement. We have the reach and engagement. A study by this football team, or soccer team as we call them in this part of the world, posted content on social media once every few days. Engagement actually increased at a greater rate than if they were to post constantly every day. So that'll be a question on the quiz. Do you have to post daily to get a greater effect? And you don't have to post every day, but every other day had a greater effect than every day. And the other one area is conversion. Okay, conversion will tell a team or venue how many people took the next step to become part of their advertising database. To track this, the team would look at online sales, subscriptions. So it could be that, oh, I saw an ad for the Toronto Blue Jays, and then I went through the ad and purchased a jersey, or I bought a ticket to a game, or that sort of thing. That's where the conversion takes place. So you had the engagement is when someone did repost something. This part is converting them, conversion. Did social media content convert the viewer into someone who will follow the team or purchase a ticket or event? Okay, that will be the ultimate metric that will determine the success of the campaign. Right, so that's what they're saying there. Those pretty simple, honestly, those concepts. So sports versus concert marketing plan. So the main difference between sports and concerts is that concerts are rarely, if ever, televised. Oops. Oh, what page am I on? Sorry about that. I just went out too far. Sorry about that. Get back there. Okay, televised live. So you do sometimes see the concerts that are, you can pull up and watch recorded concerts. Does anyone ever remember any live concerts that were televised in the last few years? Well, not this past year, but maybe even this past year. Maybe you've seen a few concerts. Does anyone remember any concerts that were televised in the last few years? That's the one, Andrew. That's the one I was hoping you'd guess. Yes, the Tragically Hip's final concert that was televised. I think that was, it's got to be 3 summers ago now, right? What else was televised? How about, okay, I got some, the New Year's Eve. Whenever you're watching New Year's Eve shows, a lot of those are televised. But New Year's Eve concerts, yes, Ashlyn and Angie, we're thinking the same today. Those are the examples I had as well. Okay, so instead of promoting the general awareness of the game, where it can be seen on television, listened on the radio, or seen live, the main focus of concert advertising is to highlight the experience of people. They have to buy tickets, right? It's all buying the tickets of the concert. So as an example, the yearly Coachella used every type of social media outlet to spread its message and showcase the experience concertgoers were having. Coachella focused on using photographs to build the hype around individual performances, keep people informed, and capture memorable events or moments as they occurred throughout the event. This same strategy can be used in concert tours and have the artist play in one city per night. Okay, using the video photographs from previous concerts leading up. Okay, you can see that they're just generating interest, excitement about their current shows to show the experience. So they you really wouldn't have, you wouldn't take pictures of, or not, I guess you do, if you're having sports events of the fans excited at sports events. But I think sometimes you do, you show the people that have the signs or face painted, or, if you see Toronto and Boston hockey playing and they have a couple, one's wearing the Boston sweater, one's wearing the hockey sweater, you see that sort of thing. But, all the funny ones, the kiss cams and stuff like that, the hockey games, but you don't see the concerts and sporting events are different fans, right? I'm guessing. So you're probably agree with me there. So some of the legal issues with social media. So it can be incredibly useful tool for teams and players to utilize to market themselves in the events they take part in, but it can also cause Reputable harm when derogatory or negative comments are made via the team's official account or player's personal account. Now, there's countless examples of poor social media conduct, and as a result, leagues started implementing policies for teams, players, and league employees. So I'm going to ask if anyone remembers any sports players that have had difficult social or difficulty on social media that you can come up with. I don't have any examples of any players that have had a issue with social media. Chat box is quiet. Brady, oh, here we are. Had just a huge thing blow up after he won the Super Bowl. Okay. Anthony Angelo from the Rangers. All right. Yes, there's all sorts of different ones that pop up. We know that Super Bowl it's such a microscope and spotlight on all the players. I couldn't remember the player's name, but the player that about 3 or 4 years ago was being interviewed and really would not give any response, was only doing the interview because they had to. The league is telling them that players had to be available for 5-minute interviews to the media to answer questions, because every player, regardless how low they are on the roster, all have fans, so they all are required to do that interview thing. But I can't remember the name of that person. Anyone can remember that person that had that? That's right, Marshawn Lynch. That's what I was thinking that. I wanted to say that, but I didn't. But yes, thank you, Andrew. And that was probably an example that's used over and over and over. It's because the player, I think it was from a previous statement that they said something or did something, but players are all actually coached on how to handle themselves in front of social media. So it's almost boring, when you hear the players answer, that hockey interview where you're pull the player off or at the end of a game or in between the periods, like, oh, how'd you feel out there? It's like, oh yeah, we're all good. Pucks to the net, lots of shots, get more goals than the other team. They all have these sort of canned responses that they use in their interviews, and it's kind of a little bit boring. So when any player gives something a little bit different than the regular response, it's more interesting, right? Okay. So there's all examples of poor social media conduct as a result of leagues put in policies for teams, players, and league employees. All right. So in 2012, MLB instituted social media policy. Players who violate the policy are subject for discipline and can be fined. NFL social media policy is to allow teams to develop their own guidelines that focus on statements being professional, accurate, and consistent with the NFL and team's mission. Okay, what about in most pro sports? You can't say anything about the officiating, right? So regardless of how bad the call was in basketball or in hockey or in baseball or in football, or in football, yeah, you just cannot say anything about the officiating. And if you do, you're getting fined, right? Big fines. All right. In addition, leagues implemented policies that limit a player's ability to post social media content before, during, and after games. NBA players cannot make a post 45 minutes before a game, during a game. And there were examples of player posting during a game. So it's like, okay, are you actually playing the game? Are you just there to try to get more followers on your TikTok feed or your Instagram account. NFL and NHL policies are very similar, except the NFL doesn't allow social media posts 90 minutes before a game. The NHL doesn't allow social media posts 2 hours before a game. And this may have been changed since then, but it's pretty boring. If you pull up your favorite player on one of the social feeds, yeah, nothing too exciting. All-star games, right? All the social media. Yeah, all-star games are a little bit different. But players are trained and coached on how to handle themselves in front of the camera, in front of the microphone. I know the Leafs a few years ago, when Babcock was the coach, they had a lot of rookies on the team, and they weren't even allowing the rookies to speak for a game or after a game. It was always the coach that was talking. It was taking the heat off the players, and the coach was the one talking. Okay, so some of the key terms: conversion, engagement, influencers. Okay, so conversion of people who take the next step, become part of the advertising database or directly purchasing a product. That's conversion. Engagement, the number of people who did something to posted content, like retweet or like. And then there's the reach. So those three: conversion, the three that came up: conversion, engagement, and reach. The number of people receiving a message or hearing the advertisement. And influencers, highly recognizable users of social media that teams or events seek out. Right? Social media, form of electronic communication, we know that. Viral marketing is that organic marketing that people or teams are paying for, and it happens to spread through their fans or through people that are receiving that information. Okay. Right, let me just stop sharing that. And we'll find where is. Okay. Here. All right, so we have the social media advertising and the quiz is available for you now. I will give you until it's 8:39. I will give you 1 minute per question. I know it won't take you that long, but that'll include a little break. I'll give you till 9 o'clock, and then we will come back and get into the presentation. Okay, so I will just put myself on mute for the next 20 minutes, and then, but I will be here. Okay, if you have any questions. Ready? Go ahead. You can do the quiz now. Give me a thumbs up that you have access to it. Somebody is. Thanks, Eric. Stavros, very good. Jesse, awesome. Thank you. Okay, good luck on that. Harmeet, there are a few, I would say, sort of math type questions on the quiz that were a bit challenging. I guess I'll put it that way. So they talk about percentages and that sort of thing. So do your best on those. There's only a few of them. I think maybe three questions on sort of percentage or, but anyways, you'll see that. Go ahead, and I'll be online here waiting for any questions. Okay, it is 9 o'clock and there's 20 minutes to complete the quiz. Now it is the time where we will get into the presentation. We'll do the presentation, then I'll talk about assignment one, then the only assignment, and then I will go through the learning phase and a bit of the challenge phase just to help you out with that. Okay, so Aaron, Andrew, Hermeet. See Jaren and Harmeet. I don't see. Oh, there's Andrew. Sorry, I do see you. All right, who would, are you guys there? Did unmute yourselves so I can?
I'm here.
All right, here.
I'm just figuring out how to do screen sharing.
Yeah. When you do screen sharing, and it's just when you do hit share, the share button,
Yeah.
there is a drop-down box in there that says optimize for motion in video. You have to unshare to see this, but if you share it, it just makes sure that the sound, if you have any sound.
Oh, I don't think we have any sound. We should be good for that.
Okay, all right. If you have sound, you have to do that. But if you don't have sound, then you are good. And
see this presentation screen right now?
yeah,
okay,
just hold on a second. Let's see if get some of your peers to evaluate you. I think most of you have already evaluated in the past. Let's just see what I have here. Second. It does look like most of you. How about if I ask? I know you've some of you evaluated before. How about Serkan, Spencer? If you two could evaluate this week, that would be awesome. They got that? If not, we're good. Okay, I got an okay there from Serkan. Thank you, Serkan. All right. Okay, I will hand it over to you and get started. Go ahead.
All right, thanks. Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Andrew, and I'm here with Aaron and Harmeet, and we're going to be talking today about salaries and tax and their impact in the sports world. All right, so just a quick little intro. So we are going to be talking about salaries, basically what the players earn, and then the taxes that they get based on. So just around the four major sports, being the MLB, NBA, NFL, and NHL. So money is obviously a large factor in the world of sports, and the different areas where athletes are playing also determines their payment. And that can be a huge factor for different free agents, depending on where they want to play and stuff like that. So first, we'll talk about salary cap and what an actual salary cap is. So for the leagues that do have them, they are league mandated, meaning that they're implied for all teams in the league and they have to be followed. And then they basically get based on around the total league revenue. So for example, they would take about 44% of the league's earnings from each team, and that would be kind of the set cap for the different teams to follow. So some leagues have a soft cap, which basically means that they don't have an exact number that has to be followed. And those teams, or sorry, those leagues, they have a luxury tax that goes along with it. So if the cap does get breached, they have another limit that basically adds a tax onto the teams if they do exceed that. So first we'll talk about the NBA. They're one of the leagues with a soft cap, so they have a luxury tax. Their soft cap set at just over 109 million US dollars, and the luxury tax is set at just around 133 million US dollars. So basically, what that means is that the teams can spend up to $109 million of their money freely, and then any bit of money after that is going to be considered up to their luxury amount. So if they do pass that luxury amount, depending on how much ahead they go ahead, will determine how much extra they have to pay. So for the NBA, if that limit is reached, they have to pay up to 150% of what they go over. But at least with the NBA, there are some different factors that keep them within the limits. So that would include bird rights, which for those that don't know, it just basically relies on a player's loyalty towards their team. So if someone spent up to 3 years on a certain team, that will allow the team to go over their cap limit in order to sign them, as well as minimum player salary exceptions. And those are for young players that get signed out of the G League or on 10-day deals. That way they can, because they're just minor deals, they can still get signed on even if the team is in a bit of salary cap trouble. So the next salaries we'll go into will be the NHL and NFL. Both of them have hard caps, so they're set at 81.5 and $109.2 million respectively. And these caps cannot be exceeded. So basically, the teams in those leagues, they can go up to that limit, but any trades that they try to do that would exceed that limit, they would get canceled by the league, just so they don't go over that salary cap. And typically with these leagues, you would see the salary caps go up every year as teams would generate more revenue. But with the COVID pandemic affecting things, they haven't been able to grow. So you'll find certain teams in the NHL and NFL, at least this time of year, having issues signing players because they don't have as much cap room and flexibility as they would have in past years. So then finally, we have the MLB, which is one of the more confusing ones, as they don't have an exact salary cap, and it gets based more on the actual team's payroll. So they do also have a competitive balance tax, which is similar to the salary tax. And this is set at $210 million. So once again, basically, if any team goes over that 210, then they will have to pay an extra 50% of tax for each bit of money that they go over. And then they have a repeater tax. So for any teams that break this limit multiple seasons in a row, they then have to face an even larger tax based off of the fact that they're doing it consecutive seasons. So for example, we have the LA Dodgers, who this year, if anyone follows baseball, they'll know that they've kind of built a bit of a super team over there. So with their cap or soft cap really being set at 210 million, their total payroll goes almost to 240 million. So they do have about 28 or so million extra over the limit. So in that sense, with the 50% they have to pay, that's an extra $14 million that they have to pay towards the league in those taxes. And now we'll head on to the actual tax aspect.
We will discuss about the tax in sports, and mostly the taxes they are imposed on the athletes' salaries, and moreover on their lifestyle, how much they are impacting. I think there are different ways that they are going to tax. Like if the athlete is a non-resident, then they have to go through the Canada income tax. So they have to go through certain criteria, like they have to report their salary, their investments in Canada, and all that. But in addition to this, Canada, it doesn't. They reduce their employment related expenses, like they don't impose tax on their expenses. After this, there is example of LeBron. He signed for the 2-year extension for his tax. He is a basketball player. So going to next, there are in 2018 there was a federal tax brackets, like which shows that if your income is this much, then how much tax rate you have to pay. Like for example, if it's on 46,000 or less, then there is a 15% tax for that. That's everything about the tax and sports. Next is
So next there are places with cities with little tax. So this will include players that are on teams and that are located in Florida where there is no federal tax. There's just the income tax, which is only 37% that is taken off their salary, which is put towards taxes. So this will include players that are on the Lightning, Dolphins, Panthers, or the Heat. And then in Tennessee, there is no city or income taxes, which is a huge plus for teams or players because it'll help them be able to sign the higher end players and build more of like a super team. And this will include players on teams like the Titans and Predators. And then next, there's locations where there's higher tax. So cities like Toronto has a higher tax. So when it comes to them signing players like they did with Matthews and Marner, those guys will be asking for more money or think they're worth more money because of how much they get taken off of taxes. And then for American players, they face a high tax rate in certain cities. For example, in California has a high tax rate, which is 52.65%. So players like Curry are bringing home just under 18 million of his $37 million salary. And then tax rates become more confusing when American players get traded to Canadian teams or play in Canada. Players pay a maximum rate of 53.53% with federal and provincial taxes on their income earned while playing in Canada. American players also have to pay IRS on top of the federal rate, which is 37%, and may owe even more depending on which state they live in.
And that's all that we have. Does anyone have any questions?
I just had, did you guys run into anything about the sort of lower spending cap or salary cap? So I know some teams that try to save money by not spending maybe like the Devils or someone like that is just not in a big market, so they try and spend less money. But are you guys, did you come across anything in any of the leagues that have a minimum salary cap?
So I 50 to 60 million. So teams are encouraged to stay within that range, but obviously they don't have to push towards that 85 million cap. As long as they're within that minimum range, then they're able to abide by the league rule.
So looking at the whole topic of salary caps, why do you feel that salary caps have been put into place?
Well, I think it definitely protects the parity of the league, especially when you look at things like the NBA. You know, they had that span or 5 years where it was just basically the Warriors and the Cavaliers making it to the finals. So I find that teams or leagues that have a more set salary cap, it allows the just the overall balance of the league to be more even and prevents the making of super teams similar to the NBA has.
So with the one like the baseball where they don't have a salary cap, so is there a wide spread between the lower end teams and the high, like the Dodgers? Like, I think you said the Dodgers was the high end.
Yeah, I mean, like again, the Dodgers, they've got a lot of money to spend. So obviously they've got, you know, a really deep team. They've got some all-stars in the pitching category. So a team like that's going to be, you know, a lot more deep compared to a team like the Miami Marlins, for example, who don't have as much to show for it. You know, they don't really have the all-stars and the big names that really draw the crowds compared to the like the Dodgers or a team like that.
Okay, thank you very much. I am going to put in a link to the Microsoft form where you can fill out your year evaluations. I'm just going to grab that link right now and share it with you. Put that in the chat. That's just for the three of you that just completed the presentation. Okay, you can find the link for that in the chat. Okay, thank you very much. No other questions? All right. I will go over to the open up the learning phase, challenge phase. Okay, I've opened up the learning phase and the challenge phase, and I'm going to take you through the learning phase. Learning phase I found was a bit long because it took a little bit to get used to as far as the steps that you had to go through. It wasn't too difficult. It just kind of took a little bit of time. So as you can see, hold on, sorry, I better share my screen. Yeah, all right. So this one, we are looking at a lot of what you're going to be looking at mostly when you go to reports, event reports. You're going to be looking at the amount of fans per game. That's going to be something they're going to ask you frequently through this module. Okay, so that is going to happen. And then actions, you're going to be going to promotion, social media, and there's a bunch of information in here on this tab when you scroll down that we're going to be going through. Okay, so those are the two main ones that you're going to be looking at this one. So on the first step of the learning phase, and hopefully most of you have this open by now, so they want you to go to reports and event reports, and they're asking you about the September 10th game and the attendance, which we just pulled up, and we can see that it is the 8580, 8,580. Easy, right? Okay, next. attendance was a lot lower than they expected. We know that the high end is usually around 16,000 or so. And you learn how to fix that by promoting. Okay, so we're going to try to increase these numbers at the game by promoting. So actions, and then promotion, social media, and then the next game. So here, when we hit this drop down menu, you can see all the games that are available. They wanted us to choose the September 17th game versus the Warriors. It appears automatically. Their choose event. See right here. This is the choose event right here. Okay. So that was that part. And this is what we're doing. So we're designing our ad, right? So in the headline, we want to make this pop down here. I usually just go over here and I can copy. Control C, Control V, right? Headline versus Warriors. Awesome. Notice that you entered the headline, but there is this one section down here called the heads up section. Okay, it says your headline or text should contain the name of the stadium and the date of the event. Okay, so that's pretty well what they're asking for in the text every time. So we know that this is the information here. Like this goes September 17th, Leopard Stadium. You do Control C. Well, you just paste it in there, and you notice down here that the heads up section, it says all the important information has been included. Okay. Did the heads up message disappear? Yes. Okay. Next. Choose an image. So we go here, click on the choose an image, and we know it's a football game. I think there's 2 football or 3 football. You can choose. There's a bunch of different pictures I have in here. Okay, you can see that there's different, depending on what sport. We're going to just select this image of the football player. Select image. If you don't include an image or use one that's not related to your event, your ad will be less effective. Okay, so scroll down to the next session labeled campaign. Don't worry about the choose an audience section at this point. So campaign. Enter, then the campaign is going to be add 1. So just put add 1 right there. The budget amount input, which by default displays 0. We'll put 40,000 in there. Okay. And right here, we're just going to hit book ad. Okay. Book ad, and then click OK. Okay. To close the confirmation method. Okay. Just leave this open though. All right. Click next. You can see down at the bottom, you've booked the ad actually before you, right down here at the bottom. This is your booked ad. This is when you just created ad 1, 40,000 for this date. Okay, for the one game. That's all we have at this point. Click next. Click the start button right here. Click. See in the background that the game is taking place. Doesn't look like a lot of fans went in, me, but I only could see part of the stadium. Look at the event reports. We're going to go to the event report over here. Reports, event report. And we're looking at the fans. It went up about 2,000. Yes, increased about 2,000. Next, step 5. Attendance did improve, but it was still short of the estimated demand of 12,000. Close this. In the promotion, you can close that too. Well, this is already open, so we'll just keep it here. In promotion social media form, scroll down to the section of booked ads to tell you how your ad performed. Okay, in this case, Sim, you pay for each impression whenever your ad is displayed. For someone, your budget is the maximum amount you're willing to spend, or impressions the actual cost of the amount you are actually billed based on the number of impressions made while the ad was active. Compare the budget to the actual cost. Okay, Did you hit your budget maximum for the impressions? Yes, the ad received the most possible impressions given the budget. Correct. See the budget, your actual cost. So this section right down here is what they're asking to look at. The budget is 40,000, actual cost 40,000. So yes, it is true. Next. That's just what they want you to know right there. Okay, in this ad, the entire budget was used. Actually, the actual cost can be less than your budget if the social media platform does not find enough people to display your ad. So your actual cost here is lower than your budget, then you probably spent too much. Okay, next look at the columns labeled impressions and clicks. So impressions and clicks, right there. And when your ad receives a click, it's a sign that the viewer is interested. Right? Click-through rate, CTR, measures how often viewers of your ad click it. It's computed with this formula: clicks divided by impressions equals CTR. So we're going to do this together. All right, pull up the calculator. So how many clicks did you have? 33,000. 33,000 divided by 556,3,800 equals, and that's multiply that number by 100 because my answer is 0.0059, but it should be 0.59, which is very close to 0.6%. Okay. Next, this is a 0.6 is a low rate, and so it should be closer to 2. So to improve the CTR, you'll now try targeting the ad persons more likely to come to a football game in the promotion social media form. So we're still in there. Scroll to the top. Under events, choose the September 24th game versus the Tigers. And then you can just go Leopards versus Tigers. All right, we know the game now is at the September 24th game. And if we had that, before you put the September 24th in, you can see down here in the heads up that we didn't have the correct information. So as soon as we change this to the 24th, oops, all right, let me click on that. 24th, the heads up disappears. We already have an image chosen, so we don't have to go like here, select image, it's already there. Say under your audience, so now we're going to choose your audience, check the check box next to football. Right, so we can notice that first audience is 7.9 million people. When you just click football, you're going down to 1.3 million people. Okay, so that's the amount of people from your total audience of the 7.9 that are interested in football. So we have 1.3 million people in our audience that are interested in football. If you change that just to male, and actually select male as well, you'll see that 722,000 are male. I'm guessing about the same for female. Oh, 613, so a bit more male than female in this audience. But we're going to just click football. This directs the social media platform to display your ad only to the people self-identified as football fans. Scroll down to the campaign budget. We're going to pick ad 2 now. So just put in ad 2 for the campaign name. Leave the budget at 40,000, and we're just going to click book ad right there. The ad and click OK. Leave this open. Click next. Step 8. Now we're just going to click the start button again, right? So click the start button, and we can see the football stadium in the background is filling up a bit more than our last game, so that's good. Okay, so look at the event report, event report, and what did we have at that game? Well, it went up to 15.5, so Yes, it is now more than the estimated 12,000. Yes, it is more than the estimated 12,000. So that's good. Next. Attendance for the game was much better, but can still be improved. So click the close button on the event report. Close that. In the promotion social media form, which we'll close the event report as well. So now scroll down to the section of booked ads. Okay, the actual cost for ad two, I can see this out of the way. What they want to do on this one, the actual cost for ad two is the same as the budget again. So we know 40,000, 40,000. That's good. Again, you maxed out the impressions. Look at the impressions and clicks your ad yielded. So again, we want to use this formula where we divide 92,730 by the impressions. So 92,730 divided by 5,563,800, and your number will end up to be the 1.7 right there. Okay, we could click next. That's a good improvement, right? Click-through rate improved quite a bit. To further boost your performance, you'll try increasing the budget in the promotion social media. So now I'm going to go back up to the top, select the October 1st game versus the Whales. And the headline, right? We have that, and we have to change the date to October 1st. At the Leopard Stadium, leave the image of the football in place. Okay, scroll down. Scroll down to booking the ad. So now we're going to do ad 3. All right, and the budget amount put 60,000. So we're going to increase our amount of money we are spending on this campaign. We're going to click book the ad. All right, and click OK. Next. Click the start button. We're starting. See what happens here. What happened to attendance? So we're going to click on our event report. What happened to our fans? I think, did it go up? It went up slightly. So 15.5 to 15.9. Increased, but not as much as in the earlier games. Okay, perfect. Next. Increasing the budget help raise attendance to a new high, but not too much. Click the close button on the event report. Scroll down to the book. Okay, close that. Scroll down to the book ad section. And now look at the budget and actual cost. So now we want to look at the budget. You spent 60,000, the actual cost 42. So before, when you were in 40 and 40, you know you're pretty well at your limit right there. So what you'd probably do in case if you were to run another budget is change your budget amount to, I would change that to about 45. Okay, a little bit more than that. Did ad 3 get as many impressions as budget allowed? No, it fell short of the budget at 17,000. Here we go. Next. Okay, so these are what we can submit there. Okay, and I'm just going to go over, we'll close Sim and open up the challenge phase for a moment. I've already gone through it on my own, so I'm going to go back, and back. But here, there is a target of attendance of 52,000 per game. So you know that 52,000 divided by 3 equals 17,300. So you have a high target of 17,300. and you have a budget of $180,000 to promote for the 3 games. So you could say, well, I'm just going to divide it 3 ways and do 60,000 per game. I would start just a little bit lower just to find out what happens on your first game and take it from there. Also, you remember you have 2 opportunities to go through the challenge phase. I'll probably guarantee that it'll be tough to get it on your first crack. You see, I got 37 out of 40 on my try there. I got to about 47,000 out of 52 on my first try. Okay, so I only spent 128,000 of 180,000, so I could have spent more as well. But it's only 3 games, so it doesn't take a long time to go through the Sims. Take your time and try to come up with your actions. You know that you are going to have to go through that. It's not going to show. I have to restart if I was going to show you. But you have 52,000. And okay, so there's that. All right, so that is the challenge phase. I'll let you work on that, but I want to just show you, the assignment 1. I'm going to pull it up here. You go to Blackboard and click on assignments. You will see the assignment listed there as assignment 1. This is worth 10% of your mark. Pretty simple, pretty basic, not a lot to explain, but let me just pull it up for you so I can go to you. There. Right. Okay, I'm going to try to make that a little bigger. Okay, simple as far as one assignment, due the last day of class, so you have over a month to complete it. All right, and I didn't want to post it until after reading week because some people haven't done their presentations yet. It's sort of based on your presentation, but it's a take the trend that you have used for your presentation, and in the first paragraph of your assignment, provide a summary. So 150 words is you're providing a summary of your presentation. The remainder, 450 to 500 words, which is about 2 pages. Consider one of these questions or one of your own and provide an answer. So be sure to provide references. So you're using the questions that I just put down that would allow you to form your information. Is 1, describe why you think it is a trend in sports. Okay, so the why question right here, they're asking why. Describe whom this trend affects. So the who part of this, the why, who. So what opportunities does this trend present? And describe this trend and the history of this trend. So if there's any history that we can look back at and learn from. And, well, I guess this is funny. Okay, so number 5 is basically the same as number 1. I missed that. Sorry about that. So I have these 4 questions, but you could also come up with one of your own questions. Also, you can note that I put down the length of 600 words plus or minus 100. So keep it close to that. Use APA format. Okay, we all know what APA is, and it's worth 10% of your mark. Okay, so that's how simple that one is. So it's based on the work that you have done for your presentation or will be doing for your presentation. All right, you have over a month to complete that. Due April 20th. I think April 20th is the last, I got that date right. April Yes, I did. Okay, April 20 is the last day of class. Any questions on that? Everyone's fairly quiet this morning, which is okay. All right, so I will end the class now. If I will stay online if anyone has any questions, and wait for everyone to leave before I end the class. I know sometimes there's the odd person that seems to be sleeping online, and I have to end the class while you're still on. But thanks for attending today. Look forward to seeing all you next week. Enjoy the warm weather this weekend. Get outside, get some vitamin D, and we will talk to you next week, if not sooner. Okay, I'm going to just stop the recording and